Hi everybody, and welcome to video 2 of what you need to know about when your relationship ends. I'm Dr. Karen Finn. I'm a writer, a divorce coach, and founder of The Functional Divorce. As I mentioned, this is video 2, so I hope you had a chance to watch video 1 because I'm going to assume that you did and not tell you any more about it. No rewinds, no nothing. Just dive into the information I have for today's video. What I'm going to be talking with you about today is the middle part of the divorce recovery journey, or the divorce pits. And you may remember that I like to use landmarks that you kind of look out for while you're in this journey of divorce recovery. And this middle part actually has 7 different landmarks I'd like for you to be on the lookout for. The first one is loneliness. It's really natural to feel lonely when you're going through your divorce recovery journey. But when you're in the divorce pits, the loneliness is very, very profound. It can feel like you are so alone that nobody else on the planet even knows you exist. That's despite knowing that you have friends and family who care about you. The loneliness is still almost unbearable. I know when I was going through this phase, I felt just dreadfully, pitifully alone. And yes, I did feel sorry for myself because I didn't think that I'd ever have anybody in my life ever again that was important to me. But luckily I was wrong. And I bet you that if you're feeling the same type of thing, that you're probably going to be wrong too in the long run. So this is the first landmark. The second landmark here is changing friendships. One of the things about divorce is, unless you've been through it, people kind of freak out when they learn that you're going through divorce. My first exposure to this was years before my own divorce. I was working at a university, and one of my colleagues got divorced. She would talk about her divorce, how she felt, wondering why her ex-husband could have done what he did, the whole thing. And that's just about all she'd ever talk about for a year or more. It was really pretty frustrating for her because many of our colleagues stopped talking with her. Frankly, I was uncomfortable talking with her too, but I didn't feel the discomfort because of what she was going through necessarily, but more because I didn't know how to help her, and I really desperately wanted to help her. So she lost a lot of friends through her divorce journey. And her story isn't all that unique. A lot of people lose friends when they go through the divorce journey. Sometimes that's because the friends just don't know how to do it, don't know how to support them, how to remain friends. Other times it's because, well, you know, they were part of a couple, and now that you're not part of a couple anymore, they decide that it's too risky to remain friends with you. So you'll be probably noticing that friendships change. Some will strengthen, some will disappear as you continue on through your divorce journey. The third landmark in this middle phase of divorce recovery journey is guilt and rejection. Yes, it's a 2-for-1 here, but the reason why there's 2 names up here in this one box is because they associate with 2 different people, the dumper and the dumpee. So guilt. Guilt is typically associated with the dumper in the divorce, right? The person who said that it's over. And usually the guilt's about hurting their ex. Whether or not you actually recognize that if you're a dumpee, chances are that your ex is experiencing some guilt. Now the dumpee, on the other hand, the one who finds out that they're getting divorced, experiences huge amounts of rejection. And that kind of makes sense because it is a big rejection. Now, they're both up here as part of the middle phase of the divorce recovery journey because everybody who gets divorced goes through some form of divorce recovery journey. And it just indicates here that you're either probably going to experience one or the other at any particular time, and as time goes on, don't be surprised that you experience the other one. So if you're the dumper and you're first experiencing guilt here, you may experience rejection as you continue on your divorce recovery journey. All right, The fourth landmark is grief. Basically speaking, getting over a divorce is a grief process. There's grief over the end of the marriage, the death of the marriage, the end of the dreams of happily ever after, the end of being known as a spouse to this other person, right? There's all different things that come to an end as a result of a divorce. So it's natural to experience grief and extreme sadness over the end of your marriage. As part of the grief process, anger often shows up. Anger is one of those emotions that gets kind of a bad rap because a lot of people aren't taught how to be angry appropriately, right? And it's even more difficult to learn about anger when you're going through divorce because this kind of anger, the kind associated with divorce, can verge on rage. It becomes so large. So it's really important to recognize that when you have anger associated with your divorce recovery process, that you figure out some way to dissipate the anger that works for you. For some people, you can dissipate anger by doing exercise. Some people beating a pillow. Some people screaming into a pillow. Some people dancing. That's what I did. I used to turn up my stereo really loud and dance till I was exhausted. And when I was exhausted, I could see what was underneath that veneer of anger. Usually it was sadness. So when you're experiencing the anger, go ahead and do something to dissipate it, right? So you're not sitting and stewing in the anger, and then see what's kind of hiding underneath the surface. Now, one of the biggest reasons why anger is such an important part of the divorce recovery journey is because it allows you to start letting go. Letting go of your ex. Letting go of all the things that you were just grieving, right? It allows you to identify them and let them go. I like to think of these two actually going hand in hand. So when you start noticing the anger, you're probably going to start noticing that before too long, you're ready to start saying goodbye to some things. All right, this last landmark in the middle part of the divorce recovery journey is really kind of a tough one for a lot of people. I know it was for me. It was self-worth. I felt lower than pond scum when I got divorced. I really didn't have much of a sense of self and being worth anything except for at work. Beyond that, I felt kind of lost. And so my therapist that I was working with challenged me. He said, Karen, come up with a list of 10 things that you like about yourself. I stared at him. I didn't want to do it because I didn't know if I could. It was really, really hard for me to come up with that list of 10 things, but I did. And I'll tell you, some of the things on that list I have to laugh at today because there were things not necessarily about me, but things I could do. Remember I said I was okay about work stuff? Well, this was kind of more work stuff. And so the two things that I came up with was, first off, I liked that I knew how to drive because then I could get to work and get home without being dependent on anyone else. Yep, that was on my list of 10 things I liked about myself. The second one was I liked that I knew how to bake cookies. That was something else that was really important to me that I could say, I'm worth something because I know how to do that. Yeah, probably not the most profound things I could have come up with for my list, but it's where I was and it's where I started. And from there, I was actually able to come up with a whole lot more things over time that I like about me being me, independent of what was my past with a divorce. So, this is the middle phase of the divorce recovery journey, the divorce pits. And there are 7 different landmarks you can be on the lookout for, and I'll bet that you see yourself in one or more of these right now. So, our next video is going to cover the end, right? When you know you're getting to the end of the divorce recovery journey. And until then, bye.